Hi everyone, Joe Dardano back. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I've published on this channel, but today it's a timely post today here on August 27th, 2017. It is foreclosure season in Washington State. So if you live in the Pacific Northwest, if you live in British Columbia, if you're in Washington State or Oregon, or even next door, in Idaho, even in California, and you're interested in buying some foreclosure property, this is the time to start doing some work and some organizing of your own and shifting some money around to get ready for foreclosure season in Washington State. Now, there's many kind of foreclosures out there. There's the bank foreclosure where someone owns a home or a group of people own a home and they cannot make the mortgage payments and the bank forecloses. This is not what I'm talking about. The foreclosure season coming up in Washington State is essentially a foreclosure on the taxes not being paid on property in Washington State. And usually these lists of people who haven't paid taxes will come up on websites on various counties throughout Washington State starting in September. Next few weeks you'll see, if you go on these county websites, you'll see lists of people who have not paid their taxes and that they are now giving notice to the whole community that these properties will be sold off at the auction. It's a tax auction in the fall and various dates throughout the state depending on the county. Now, what is a tax deed auction or foreclosure on taxes? In the States, there's two type of ways that states deal when people don't pay their property taxes. One is to put a lien on the property and they sell the lien. I'll give you an example. Let's say John does not pay property taxes on his house and the taxes are $2,000. They will put up those $2,000 at county for investment, for investors to come in and pay those taxes for the county. And the investor will have 2 or 3 years to own that lien and get an interest payment of 8 or 10 or 15%. If the owner wants to redeem their property and get it back, in other words, if they don't want their house to lose their house, they pay those back taxes plus the interest to the investor. That's called a state that does tax liens. But that's not the case of Washington. Washington does tax deeds. And that's the difference. In Washington, you don't pay your taxes year 1. You don't pay your taxes year 2. You don't pay your taxes year 3. After year 3, what the counties do is they start to do the foreclosure process by listing the properties that are going to be auctioned off in the end of year 4. And so those properties will be sold at auction at the county courthouse, and an investor can buy the whole property. So how does that go? Let's say you don't pay your taxes year 1. Say it's $2,000. Then year 2 is another $2,000. Year 3, let's say the house is worth $100,000. Well, that's $6,000. Now year 4 is going to be added up too, so that's $8,000 plus penalty. I would say for a $100,000 property, the taxes plus penalties would probably be about $11,000 or $12,000 or $13,000. So you go to the auction, and the minimum bid will be about $12,000 or $13,000. That's what the county wants. But often for homes, they'll go a lot higher than that, because if there's a property on there, it'll go for a lot higher. Most auctions that make it to the that make it to the auction courthouse on the day of the auction are usually is vacant land. But you have to do your research. So if you're interested in doing this, my advice to you is, I want you to take the time starting September and look at various county websites under the treasurer of each county. So in other words, the treasurer's office of the Whatcom County website, the treasurer's office of the Kitsap County website, Thurston County, Pierce County, Snohomish County, King County, Clark County, Cowlitz County, Chelan, Grays Harbor County, Skagit County, all the counties of Washington, Stevens County, Mason, and so on and so forth, Spokane County as well. Look at the treasurer's site on those counties And if you don't see the list, email them and say, when is the list going to come up? Because the auctions will happen in the fall, usually October, November, December. Even some may go into January, February of next year. So as those auctions are being set, the list of the default owners come up, and they'll come up usually with a parcel number, the legal description of the land, the minimum bid, and the value of the property. And as I said earlier, a house of $100,000, $150,000, you may have a minimum bid of $10,000 to $15,000. On a vacant land, let's say worth $30,000, maybe an acre worth $30,000, the minimum bid will probably be about $1,300. So you can go in there in the auction day, but remember, you have to go in with an exact amount. So if there's a vacant land with worth $30,000, and the minimum bid is $1,500, you have to come with exactly $1,500 cash or a cashier's check to pay for it. They don't, it has to be either cashier's check or cash. So you have to have an exact amount. I've been to several auctions, and so they're very interesting. You have to really do your research ahead of time in what you're buying. And so perhaps I'll do another video on that, on how to prepare for you. So if you're interested in buying property in Washington State, this is a great time to prepare. Starting September, look up these county websites, look up the treasurer's site, and look at the addresses. Of course, when you get the parcel number and the legal description, the minimum bid, and the value, you want to go into the assessor's site of the county and plug in the parcel number, which then gives you information about the property, the owner's name, and the size of the property, the location, the address, and then you can do some research on that property to see what it's all about. Sometimes they'll provide a picture if there's a home on the property and see what condition the home is in. If it's a vacant lot, you need to know where it is. Is there a road going there? Is there electricity? Is there septic? Is there water? The difficult thing about vacant land is if there's no road going there, the value will be very, very, very low. And so sometimes these people who have had these properties, maybe they've inherited them from other people, will let them go at the auction because they don't want them. They're a useless piece of property, so maybe it costs too much money to put a road in, or to put electricity in, or a septic, or so on and so forth. So if you haven't invested in Washington State before, or in land before, or in properties in terms of foreclosures, and you want to start, and you don't have a lot of money, this is probably a great way to get going. Because you could probably buy a half-acre piece of land, or an acre, or 2 or 3 for very little money. And so anyway, stay tuned, because there's more information coming up on this issue later on in my YouTube channel. So till next time, take care and have a great day.